All right. I think we'll get started if that's all right with everyone. I'll pause my music over here. So, welcome everyone to our Feedback Power Hour, Get Hired, the UX UI edition. Really, really excited to have you guys here. I'm going to be trying to keep an eye on our Q&A and also our chat function. However, I'm just one person, so it may be a little difficult. I will try to get to you as we go on. We have a few UX UI hiring managers here today. They'll introduce themselves briefly in a second. But yeah, welcome. All right. So today we have a lot to get through. First, I just want to give you guys a quick rundown as to what we've been doing for this particular campaign, Get Hired UX UI. Hopefully you guys have seen the landing page and some of the content around that. Also, as I said, we're going to be introducing our UX UI hiring managers. We're going to be sharing some best practices for UX UI portfolios and CVs. We'll be doing a live portfolio review. So a few of you have submitted your CVs and portfolios. We had quite a lot of submissions. So we focused on some ones that like drew out good conversation. So I'm hoping you guys can all benefit from some of the insights that our hiring managers today have for you. We'll also be running a Q&A. So if you have a question that comes up throughout the session, don't worry if we don't automatically respond to it. We will be having a Q&A at the end. I'm going to do my best to try to prioritize and highlight some interesting discussions for us to have. And then we're going to close out. Of course, that's quite a lot for an hour. So I hope you guys are prepared with your coffee, your tea, whatever you need to get through the next hour. And yeah, very excited to have you all on board for this session. All right, so Get Hired, the UX UI edition. This campaign was generously funded by GIZ-CCI. We were able to interview our 3 hiring managers here to get insights as to what it takes to get hired and land your dream job in UX UI. So speaking with Rania, Amr, and Malik, we drew out a few of the key topics that people have a lot of questions about, and we hoped that we drew out some of the more important steps along the way to get your dream job. Today in the session, of course, we're going to cover portfolios and CVs, the do's, the don'ts. But first, I really want to introduce our speakers here. So I'll invite Rania to give a quick introduction to yourself. So please unmute. And I'd love it if you can tell us actually how you got into UX UI, because I think that is a really interesting topic for a lot of people, because not a lot of people study to do UX UI. So everyone kind of falls into it or pursues it. So curious as to what your path is.
Cool. Hello, so I am Rania Ghraibeh. I am currently the UX UI team lead at Jawaker. We are a gaming platform, mostly card games and board games. So how I ended up in UX UI, I actually started as a designer. It was just the title designer, nothing specific. We were only 2 designers at the company. And as time went by, we expanded to a team of 20 designers. So we had to get more specialized. So at the beginning, the designer did absolutely everything from videos, UX, UI to graphic design and social media. And as we grew, we had to become more specific. So thus we had the UX UI team. So I had to shift careers slowly to understand UX UI team. And I was actually, because I was managing several teams, so I found myself managing the UX UI team. So I also had to understand the field more. So this is my story.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Rania. Malik, you are up next. So if you can also introduce yourself and how you got into UX UI, would love to hear.
Yeah, sure. So I started out as a graphic designer, and I was like a junior graphic designer at the start. And my career slowly shifted towards UX. I didn't like plan on it in any way. So I learned web development and app development, and eventually I became I have had knowledge of all these things, and UX just came to existence in my career. So I became UX designer and became UX lead in the company. And I founded a studio for UX design purely for this task.
Nice. Thank you so much, Malik. And Amr, please, if you can introduce yourself, that would be wonderful.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Amr. I'm not as specialized as Malik and Rania into UI and UX, but I'm leading a product team at Miswag. It's an e-commerce marketplace in Iraq. And my background came from software engineering. I was an Android developer. And as the company grew, I was taking the responsibility of leading the product. And it happened to be that I have to hire UI UX designers who are specialized in this field. And yeah, that's how I am a hiring manager for a UI UX specialists and designers. And yeah, that's me.
Great. Thank you so much, Amr. And yeah, I forgot, just to introduce myself, I'm Adri Smith. I'm the head of content at Recoded. I am not a UX UI expert. However, I do speak to them all the time now. So I would know something about something, but I'll let our hiring managers do all of the talking. I will be more facilitating the conversation and managing the Q&A, etc. So so let's get started. Rania, Malik, and Amr, I would love for you guys to share some of your best practices around UX UI portfolios, because I get the feeling, speaking with a lot of especially junior UX UI designers, there's often a lot of awkwardness, a lot of nervousness when you send off a CV or portfolio, or sometimes you think you've done really well and it just kind of falls short. You don't get a lot of responses. So if you guys in the audience feel like that at any given time, you're in the right place, because we have some really great people here to share some of their best practices. Let's kind of go around in a little bit of a circle, let's just say, starting with Malik. I would love for you to share the number one thing that when you open a CV or a portfolio from a UX UI designer, what exactly are you actually looking for? Because I think that is super valuable information to some of the people here.
Yeah, so basically the first thing that I look at is the process. So I almost every time I skip the presentations, I skip the mock-ups, I just look for the process and I see like how they explain the projects and how they, how it came to existence and how did they begin, how did they work with the team? Did they have surveys? Did they get, feedback? Mm-hmm. I think this is the one thing that I look for, the first thing, and then design comes out.
Yeah. All right. And Rania, what are you looking for when you open up an application to one of your UX UI jobs?
Yeah, also, as Malik mentioned, we look for the process. Just checks not just some screenshots he designed as a dribble project. He understands why he took these decisions. So yes, we also look first thing for the design process.
Mm-hmm. And Amr, I know you're more of a UX UI stakeholder. What are you looking for?
Yeah, just as Malik and Rania mentioned, definitely the process. By the way, this is similar to software engineers hiring. We usually look for the process, not the result, the thinking, what are you looking for, and how you did the thing. But in a portfolio specifically, usually what stands out in a UX UI portfolio is that to find reasons behind things that are done, and not just the beautiful various designs. And that's what to me makes the difference between a UI or a creative designer to a UX designer. So usually even though it's rare, I look for reasons and how did we get there, and if that is communicated in the portfolio or not, speaks a lot about the person. But yeah, that's what I look for.
And just a quick side note, I've seen somebody raise their hand. I would love it if you have a question, if you can drop it into the Q&A section over there. We're trying to be as engaging as possible, but Q&A is probably going to be the best way to do it, since we'll leave that to the end, and we'll try to answer as many of your questions as time allows. And guys, just a question for our UX UI hiring managers here. if you were to look at I mean, maybe think back in like recent memory, what makes a UX UI portfolio really, really stand out to you? What's the number one thing that you said that you would say, "Ooh, I have to hire this person ASAP"? Rania?
Again, also the process. If I find a detailed, good process and not just copying text, he actually understands what he did, and the designs he showed are based on the process he mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And Malik?
I think a great portfolio would be an inclusive portfolio. So a process is very important as well. But if it has like everything that I would ask him. So if I want to know about something, I need to find it in the portfolio. I need to find it like written somewhere or like a screenshots of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be like the perfect portfolio for me if I have my answers in the portfolio.
Right. And Amr, last one for you.
Yeah, to be honest, that sums it up. I can't add more. It's just being conclusive and has answers most of the questions. That definitely right away makes me understand that the person who made this portfolio knows where they are, what they are applying for, and yeah, is communicating through that. But yeah, other than that. It's just if I see a good communication throughout that design, explaining reasons and just makes sense and not a couple of designs and elements put together, I think that would definitely stand out. As simple as that sounds, it's rare in portfolios. So yeah, that would be it.
All right. So now we all have a little bit of context as to where we're coming from when, these three are reviewing portfolios and CVs. So the time has come for the portfolio review. Now, there were a lot of submissions. It was really difficult to choose, but we tried to select some of the portfolios that have common mistakes or common things that are really good, that really do stand out and would get you definitely to the top of the hiring pile, let's just say. So we'll have a little bit of a review over here. I guess the best way of doing it is that we'll go to the first, we've tried to anonymize them, of course, but we'll go to the first one just to jog people's memory. Yeah, and I guess I'll call on each of you just to kind of give your perspective. I have highlighted a few of the work samples or case studies that they've also provided, also again trying to keep it anonymous as possible, but we'll go through and give some honest and constructive feedback. So Rania, I know you had some ideas about this particular portfolio. Could you share generally what you thought? Rania?
She's on mute.
Sorry?
Rania is on mute.
Yeah.
Sorry. So the first project, the influencer app platform, it's nice. I remember he shared the process of the project. If you can open it, please.
Yep. Just gonna do that. Let me do a shared screen, one sec. And again, also guys, I do see that there are a few hands being raised. Please, if you have a question, drop it in the Q&A. That would be fabulous. All right. So this is the info shop.
Yeah, info shop. So he described the problem he is trying to solve. He mentioned a bit about the process he worked with, but I felt here I would have loved to see more, for example, snippets of the user research he did, what results he came up with, and in the end result, the screens he came up with, I do not understand how they solved the problem of connecting clients to influencers. So I felt the research and the problem description were a bit disconnected from the final result of the design. So that was my main concern with this project.
And for you, how would you make this better then?
Maybe I would start with the wireframes to explain how the flow of the project is described, for example, from the perspective of a hiring manager who's looking for an influencer, how he would go through the app. Also, as an influencer, how would the influencer use the app? How would the communication be between them? So on the screenshots displayed, it's more of an e-commerce app than platform connecting both the influencers and the hiring managers.
Right.
In the problem statement, the problem it's trying to solve, it does mention that there will be e-commerce on it, but I felt these are two separate products. Connecting influencers and selling products online, I felt these are two separate projects. Maybe they should not be combined in a single app.
Right. And Malik, what were your thoughts on this particular case study here?
I think Rania nailed it. I liked a lot of what they have written, but I think the process doesn't convey all the way through the portfolio. So I'd like to see more examples of the research and user experience. Show me something, part of the preparation for this project, not only the screenshots at the end. And I'd like to see like the screenshots connected. I want to see the whole project. Again, I care a lot about inclusiveness. So I want to see everything. So I'm very picky when it comes to explaining the projects, because you can write, you can get screenshots and you can write like a little brief on it. But I want to see like how everything connects. I want to see actual pages. Maybe if, for example, if he adds like a prototype link, that would be awesome. So I can try the application out. That would be great.
Okay.
Other than that, I think this is a good one. I think it's nice.
And Amr, any preliminary thoughts on this one? Does it stand out to you? Anything like that?
Sorry, yeah. To be honest, to me, it's good that it's sharing, like covering from several aspects. But I think, to me, in my opinion, it's not as honest as it should be. And that's to it. I think it's covering several aspects of the project, and he's trying to communicate what he's doing. But yeah, the details that Rania and Malik mentioned, the simple stuff to them, they think it's simple, but that's what matters. To be honest, it's the cherry on the top that communicates their work. A more honest work, I think would definitely nail it. But it's already good. Like the mentality that they sketched a wireframe and a map, the customer journey map and everything. It's good, to be honest. But yeah, I think those simple stuff that makes it more honest and gives us an understanding of their process would be helpful. But all in all, it's good.
Yeah. All right. We also have a second case study from this particular person. Yeah, Ronnie, I know you've prepared some thoughts on this one. I'll just also briefly review as you kind of give your thoughts.
So I thought this was a really exciting project, and he shared a lot of screenshots. But maybe for a project like this, having a screen record of how it's being used, especially that it includes AR, so placing small screenshots did not give the project its right. So I would have loved to see it in action. Mm-hmm. For example, the last screens, if you go to the screens where they show how the AR would, how they would use it to clean a tooth decay, for example. Mm-hmm. If you can scroll down, please.
It doesn't allow me to scroll down anymore. I'm really sorry.
Maybe there's next. Okay, so there's a screenshot where he shows screenshots of the tooth in AR. So maybe that would have been better as a video screen record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it also could be, unfortunately, the limitation, since we're trying to keep it a bit more anonymous. Yeah, I'm a bit more limited in terms of what I can see. Definitely a learning experience for us. Malik, did you have any thoughts about this particular case study here?
Yeah, I think the project is nice. I'm being a little picky but I think the design could be better. So I think the presentation could be, you know, a little more exciting. So it's all over the place, and the alignment is not there. There's something off about it. I don't know, but like if it's the alignment, if it's the actual design of the application, just something it doesn't, you know, doesn't look very clean, you know.
And when you say like the design could be better, what exactly do you mean by that? Because I think yeah, it's kind of difficult to get everything always right on the spot, but I'm curious what actually could make the design better. Like, do you have any like really actionable tips
The
for
first
this?
thing is, you know, the actual presentation. I think, you know, there's always visual hierarchy in, you know, when working with any project, whether it's a presentation or it's actual project. So the first thing I want to see, maybe like a small introduction above everything else, and maybe like the title be bigger, maybe the application, because it seems the font is like one of the default fonts that's always used. You know, I want to see something more interesting.
Yeah.
A little too big. But I think that would make it better, and I think that screenshots are taking a lot of space. You know, I think this is the only thing that's bad with this portfolio item. It's just it's all over the place. I think it could be more organized and gives me information that I need. And for example, the login page, I think this is very unnecessary, and you know, this is a very secondary screen. I think if you can showcase something more relevant to the project, that would be more interesting.
Yeah, I know you've said before, Malik, that you like to see the more difficult aspects of a design, for
You
example.
skip these screens because, you know, every application has them. I want to see the difficult ones. I want to see the ones that convey the actual problem, the actual solution of the project.
Yeah. All right, Amr, did you have any thoughts on this particular one, or has everything more or less been covered on your end?
Yeah, everything is covered, but I think it's just missing. I think it is surprising to say. Usually, that's not what we mentioned, but a little more elaboration on what the app does and what those features does. The screenshots are there, but how do they work and what is it and why is it landscape and why everything the way it is? I think would be good. But yeah, just a little bit more elaboration to understand those screenshots. What are they trying to serve? And yeah, I think that's all.
Great. All right. So I see that we have a few questions coming in on the Q&A. Again, if you have any questions, please drop them there. Somebody's asked if they can have their portfolio be checked right now. Unfortunately not. The deadline has passed. Should have communicated that a little bit better. Unfortunately, yeah, it's a bit too late. Today we are talking about UX UI portfolios. So yeah, if you don't think you would benefit from understanding more or less what goes into a UX UI portfolio, building one, what makes one good, this is probably not the session for you. Sorry, guys. I do love that people are already responding to one another in the webinar chat. Please keep doing that. If you have questions for your fellow attendees, please drop them there. I hope you guys all engage with each other. And we're going to be moving on to the next portfolio. Let me just open my screen here. All right. We have one here. It was a website, really interesting. It's our first website on this particular topic. So I'll just open it up here, and everyone can give their thoughts. So I'll start with Malik this time. I know you had a chance to look at this particular website. What were your thoughts initially?
I would share something. I think the UX design is not a UI design. So I think a lot of it looks very templatey. You know, I've seen this design so many times. The icons, you know, the graphics, the image in the background, everything seems very outdated a little bit. So it gives a little bad impression, I guess. That would be a little too harsh. This is like my impression on it. And the designs, I've taken a look at many of the designs. I don't know. I think you know, having a website is nice, but I didn't particularly find this very interesting. I don't know why. Maybe it's not very UX oriented. Maybe because, you know, he focused a lot on WordPress design. and WordPress implementation. So maybe that balances up. I don't know.
And so we've discussed a little bit before about like kind of the added value as a UX UI designer in creating a website for yourself, because it does show that you're kind of going above and beyond. It's really is a branded experience for yourself. What, in your opinion, would make this a website that would really stand out to you? I know you said it was a little bit templatey. In devil's advocate, I would say, is that it's a template for a reason. It works. There's a standard format that works, but what would make it stand out to you, Malik?
I mean, I'm not against templates. If it works, it works. But I think the template is a little outdated. This is the problem. The problem is not necessarily using a template or making something quick if doesn't have time for it. But it's your portfolio. It's your most important thing. So I'd say put more effort into the design of it, since like conveys everything that you're capable of,
Yeah, great. And Rania, what were your thoughts on the website as a portfolio, let's just say?
Yeah. So as mentioned, having a website is usually a huge plus for a portfolio. So that's a good thing. The first thing I would note that it's heavy on the text, and usually recruiters, they will not read all that. So try to minimize the text as much as possible and have it straight to the point, single sentences. Also, I found it nice that he put the logos of all the companies he collaborated with. It's much easier than just mentioning it as a list. So if you can scroll down, please, a bit. This is nice, the part where he puts all the logos. The second concern with this portfolio is that when I look for the work itself, I have to scroll really down, then I reach to this point. So when we reach to the point of the work itself, the thumbnails are not so exciting for me to click. I tried clicking most of them, only about 2 of them open links to Behance. So since I already did the website, so maybe I would link the portfolio, the projects to the website itself, not back to Behance, for example. Some of the thumbnails are stretched, which is horrible since you are displaying your design skills. So I would work much more on this section, make it a proper grid, make exciting thumbnails for each project, and keep it all within the same website, no linking outside. And definitely make sure that you can open all the projects to view them.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good point. So you would also suggest that perhaps the portfolios go higher up into the in the website, for example.
Exactly. If we reduce the text, there's so much more space to lift it up.
And Amr, I would love for you to weigh in terms of what you think about particularly receiving a website portfolio over a Behance portfolio.
Yeah, the thing is, as a software, coming from a software background, when a person switches from a normal PDF or a document single page portfolio into using a website, there must be a reason. And here you access more interactive options you can communicate with. Instead of one page, it can be interactive and it can guide you. So you can utilize that. But even though you don't utilize it, still it's a bonus thing to use a website, but utilize it in the right way. Now, for this particular portfolio, it's just too spread and not specific. It's too general, and not focused on UX. But yeah, I checked some of the projects that open to Behance. It stated most of the points a person hiring a UX hiring manager would need, like the problem statements, the timeline, the user feedback, the customer interviews. But again, even though it was mentioned, it looked way too templatey and not honest, and I would doubt it was done actually. But other than that, the points mentioned inside that food project are straight to the point. Most of the info that is needed, but it just didn't seem. You can click on it here, the food sharing, I think,
Yeah, I think, yeah, there was one, this one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, it's a good case study, but as Malik said, it is just too templated that it doesn't seem honest. If you go scroll down, you'll find the problem statements and the suggested solutions and the customer interviews. And yeah, I like what the person has chosen to communicate. It just needs to be more focused and more honest, I would say. But yeah, that's to it.
And Rania, I know you also had some thoughts about this food sharing portfolio, this food sharing case study.
So it's also a plus that he shared the whole process here. So I also like the choice of colors he used. So it's a bit more visualized, easier to read than previous examples.
Right, right. And Malik, what do you think of this particular portfolio case study?
I think it's nice, but I do have like this concern because there's a lot of gap between or difference of levels of work between this work and the other items in this portfolio.
Right.
So like if he did everything or she did everything in this portfolio, because there's some things are, very average and some things are super great. So no, I don't know, it's inconsistency and makes me a little bit anxious,
Right.
what kind of delivery would he or she provides in the project.
In terms of consistency, so you would only want to highlight your best work rather than
Yeah, I guess if you worked on something 7 years ago, I guess delete it, don't ruin your portfolio with something very old. Just keep the good ones.
right.
Yeah, I think what Malik was trying to say is it's like catching a good first impression, and later on you can communicate it definitely how you got there. But you got a tight frame to communicate how good you are. So why not choose the best one?
Yeah. And Rania, what are your thoughts? Do you share the same feeling?
Yes, definitely. Show 3 good projects is better than showing 10 medium ones.
All right, lessons learned here. I would love to move on to the next portfolio. We have here another website, really lucky to have so many websites. It shows some real ambition here. All right, I'm gonna open it up and no, so this is one of the first case studies within the website. So Rania, I know that you had some thoughts on this one. Would love to hear what you're thinking.
Rania, I think you're mute.
I should keep them. So I love the way the research results are visualized in the presentation. So for this particular project, it's more exciting to go through the information. The graphs were included, statistics. Maybe some results from forms could have also been better visualized. So there was something genuine about this project. And the documentation of the process was very thorough.
Yeah.
Including everything from research wireframes to the end results, and they included all the screens. So I thought this was a really strong portfolio piece.
Yeah. And Malik, what are your thoughts on this one? I know it's very thorough. Is there anything that stood
Honestly,
out?
I love this. This is great. This is like the ideal portfolio, I think. I love everything about this. Everything is like on point.
Okay, nice. And Amr, if this portfolio came past your desk, and you can see it is very long, yeah, maybe that is also a bit of the lesson here that yeah, it's not always all about the visuals, that it is a lot about the process, as Malik has said. But Amr, if this one came across your desk, yeah, what would you be thinking here?
To be honest, I didn't check it out. But if there are any visuals, can I check them out? I think nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we have
This is nice.
Yeah, we have of course, I think I see this a lot in UX UI portfolios, that you do have always some sketches. Yeah, of course, these can always be a bit more professionalized online, but it is kind of interesting always to see the hand sketches as well.
Definitely. but yeah, I think it's conclusive. But I bet, yeah, here.
Mhm.
See, this is a great UX wireframe. But if I would see, I'm not sure if this is a wireframe or a final design. But usually, what people like after we sketch and finalize what a screen is made of, and what are we solving within the screen, and when we get into the UI designing, and if you check most of the portfolios you saw. Many people are missing the part where um, if you're targeting an Arab or Iraqi I'm struggling with this in Iraq. I'm not sure about other countries, but usually people apply with English UI designs, and it's fair to say when you switch it to Arabic, it's too different. And even our engineers, when they submit an MVP, they usually submit it in English. Um, I have nothing against English. It's the general knowledge, but in the end, the Iraqi user is going to read it in Arabic, and usually texts get longer or shorter, and it's not what we speculated it to be. And since 90 for me, like in Miswag, I would say 95% of our users are Arabs, even though there is great demand on an English localized version, and we provide that. But most of our users and the masses are in Arabic, and I think there is a great difference in the design when it switched to an RTL right to left, and the text gets into Arabic. Some of the category names, some labels or texts in English can be very brief, but when it's switched to Arabic, it gets longer. How do you deal with that? That's something many miss, but would definitely appreciate. So yeah, I think it's a great portfolio. But if that was kept in mind, it would be definitely better. But yeah.
So I'm curious. I am curious because I do think that that is something that is important. You said that, of course, when you switch to Arabic, the design of it changes. I'm curious with Rania and Malik, what do you think about that? Should people submit some samples in Arabic as well if they're applying to a company that is operating in an Arabic-speaking country?
Yes, definitely. And I never thought about it before, but the whole design changes. It's much easier to have a good design in English, honestly. So it's more challenging to have it in Arabic. So,
exactly, it's just more challenging.
Yeah, 100%. It's harder when you create designs in Arabic. So everything is so, because usually words are more longer, and very like the Arabic text has lettering and all the harakat, so it makes it harder to make it in condensed spaces. So I would like to add something. So this item seems very inclusive, which is good, which is great. But my question is, so this seems like a team of UX designers, or a project that took a long time. So I would like to see like what the person sending this, what was his or her part in this project. So did they made the screens? Did they just did the UX? Did the wireframes? So it's great, it's awesome. But like what's your part in this? I would like to highlight. I would like to see highlighted. I did this. I did this. I did this.
Yeah.
That would be better. That would give me a clear idea on what kind of skill did he provide on this project.
Yep. True. So this person also has a ending slide with the team that put it together and their roles, but to preserve the anonymous nature of the review, can't share that.
I'm talking about the team. I'm talking about the tasks.
Right. Right. So I'm curious for all of for the hiring managers here, because I know that UX UI designers, particularly when they're first getting started out, a lot of them really struggle to get enough case studies for their portfolio. And of course, doing group projects is definitely a nice way of kind of filling it out. What do you guys, I know Malik, you would want to see exactly which tasks they worked on, what their role was. So that definitely would need some kind of like packaging, I would imagine, at the beginning. But Rania, have you ever seen something like that while you're hiring, and what do you think of it?
You mean in terms of group work?
Yes.
No, not really. But I think since it's group work, maybe it might be a bit difficult to define exactly what was your part, because if it was true group work, they should all be collaborating on most of the parts. So don't think a person be only responsible for this and nothing else, vice versa.
Okay. And Amr, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it is a silver lining, but definitely agree with Malik. This seems way too inclusive. But yeah, it's definitely good to look at. So yeah, a little elaboration, but it's a silver lining in between and hard to define. But yeah, I don't think I have an opinion here.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to move on. I know we have one more portfolio from this particular person, but I want to move on to one of the last ones. We also had another Behance link sent to us. So I want to dive in because this person does have quite a few examples. So I want to go through at least one, and then I do want to leave at least 10 minutes for our Q&A because I do see that there are quite a few questions that have piled up. I would love to dive into the discussion there. So our last portfolio here, this is from the Behance link, a real estate app here. Rania, I'm going to popcorn it to you to get started here.
I also remember, if I remember correctly, for this project, they had also really nice data visualization for the research they did. And I liked how the way that the portfolio was displayed, it followed the same brand of the app itself they designed. I think the only issue was when they came actually to the final screens, they were too small to make out the details.
Right.
They are too cluttered, the details are too small, so it did not do the screens any justice within the portfolio.
Right. And Malik, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Rania is 100% correct. I think, yeah, I would scroll to see the screens, but the screens doesn't, convey any idea. I do get the idea of it. I want to see more details,
Right.
the visual structure, everything.
The visual structure. And what do you mean by that?
It's nice. I mean, some screens, for example, the pop-ups and all that, it can be like somewhere else and just show me the screens, the main ones, For example, the homepage, the home screen, the second one is too cramped and I can barely see any words. I can just see the 100 and 480. So I would see it because this is like the most relevant screen, the most important one.
Right.
And the other can be smaller. I don't mind, pop-ups having, be smaller, but the homepage, I want to see it.
Right. And Amr, I know that you're big into how somebody communicates through their portfolio. For you, did this kind of hit the right note in terms of communicating?
Yeah, definitely. It's conveying the right ideas that I'm looking for. So yeah, but I think I agree with Malik and Rania regarding just briefing or organizing the screenshots in a way that communicates what is this and what is that, and not just showing them all at once. And pinpointing, like the research is great and the data visualization, everything, but defining the features that it will solve the problems that it's stating, I think that's missing. But all in all, this is so far, I think, the best UI and UX. Like it's aesthetically looking good and it's practical and great user stories and everything, but I think it's missing the features itself, the solution to the problems. But yeah, this is so far one of the best. Yeah, it's very it's concise and direct. But yeah, I think more efforts on the solution it's suggesting, I think, would make it better.
Yeah. All right. Let's get started with some Q&A. I see that there are quite a few questions that have filtered in. yeah, let's just go to one of the first ones. Let's see. All right. How detailed should my portfolio and project descriptions be? I know we had one portfolio that was super, super long, but very detailed. You guys all seem to really like it. What's the kind of cutoff point here? Yeah, who wants to go first? Go on, Malik.
How much details you can fit in, I don't mind. I can read it all day if it's nice, there's nothing called too much information. Unless, if the information is unnecessary, that would be too much. But if the information is relevant to the project, I would read it all day. I don't know.
Do you have like a structure or like kind of a process that you can use to determine? I think if you're creating a portfolio yourself, it might be really difficult to determine what's relevant versus what's not. What kind of questions should you be asking yourself as you go through to keep it kind of on point?
As long as the text is coherent, as long as the storytelling of the portfolio is good, is understandable, there's nothing, I wouldn't think like look for subtle details and all that. I would just read it, and as long as it's adding up, what I'm seeing is relevant to what I'm seeing on the mock-ups, it's all good.
And Rania, what are your thoughts?
It is recommended to put absolutely everything, even the sketches. It is more proof that you did the work yourself, not just copied something from the net. So the recruiter would just scan through the info and concentrate on the parts they want. But in the end, he should find everything he's searching for.
And Amr, what's your thoughts? Like, do you have a certain cutoff page for portfolios?
Not really. Again, to re-elaborate on what we were doing, or at least for me, when we were hiring, we're really looking for a person, and as Malik and Rania said, it doesn't matter how much details you put in. We just need it to be honest, and yeah, it's never enough. And most of the portfolios, even though we mentioned the feedback, but we are hiring managers. Hiring managers are people who recruit people, and we're looking for those people. So we can definitely understand the miscomings, or for some reason something is not put there because they didn't know, or because they're junior or something. So yeah, no matter how much details, it's always better to add the details, and because through that you can avoid misunderstanding or miscommunication. And if instead of putting just one page or one work, or very, very brief brief description about your work. So it's never enough. It's about whether it's necessary or not. If unnecessary stuff, that says something about your prioritization to what's important and what's not. And yeah, as hiring managers, we try to understand the person, what was he or she trying to do. So yeah, most of the portfolios we just checked, even though we each gave feedback on how it can be better. But we understand what they were trying to do, and we can understand the base, the level of skills they are at. So yeah, it's never it never hurts to add details. But yeah, as Malik said, whether it's necessary or unnecessary, what makes a difference.
Malik?
I'd like to add something, which is Amr said multiple times, which is honesty. If the text is nice, it's good, but doesn't seem to add up, it doesn't seem very honest, it seems like it's generated or something, I think I would skip in a heartbeat. As long as it's honest. The first sentence I read, a sense that this project is not very genuine. This explanation is just adding text. It's a loss for me, honestly. It's a break deal. It has to be very coherent and honest.
Mm-hmm. So we had while we were discussing one of the portfolios, there were a few sketches, which kind of, I think you guys said that kind of adds to this idea that it's a bit more genuine. They definitely did it. And somebody asked like, oh, what do the hiring managers think about sketches? Do they always include them? What do you guys think? Does it give a good impression, or would you want more professional kind of overviews, let's just say? Screenshots, let's just say.
I think I'll go for that. I have a brief comment. Definitely, if it was a UX UI like regardless, if it's a UX hiring, definitely the sketches are more important than the UI, than the final results. Because usually designers skip to the UI and forget about UX, and that's what, as hiring managers, we struggle with, is finding that UX scientific part in a designer. It's easy. It's not, but it's common to make nice designs and beautiful aesthetic visuals. But it's definitely with this position, we're looking for the UX for most part. The UI talent pool I think is available, and I'm not saying available. I hope I'm not misunderstood. But we're digging for the UX part, and sketching just explains that, right, straight to the point, and it defines, like, that's the fundamental level that you build on. So to me, I can argue sketches and wireframes are more important than UI, but since it's not very common and the general knowledge is not towards that, I would understand. I always understand if they are not there, because they didn't know how important it is. But yeah, I would argue definitely the wireframes.
And Rania, have you seen a lot of sketches come through on the portfolios that you see?
Usually, no, they're rarely included. Most of the portfolios that we come across are just the final images, the final screens. So even the process itself is very rare. So including the sketches gives an insight of how that person is thinking, a genuine insight of how that person is thinking.
Right. And Malik, thoughts? Sketches?
Yeah, honestly, I don't care about sketches that much, because it depends on type of person. So I'm not the type of person that sketches on paper a lot. I use like Figma for everything. So even like when I'm ideating, I use Figma. Even when I'm writing notes, I use Figma. I don't have paper around me, you know. So I wouldn't judge people, because it depends. You know, I'm the kind of person that wouldn't like to be judged because I don't use paper, you know.
All right. Interesting. So we have a question here that I think we've discussed a little bit, and I would love to go into it, considering that I think a lot of designers have this question. How important is it for a UX UI designer to create a design system for their designs in their portfolio? Because we're asking these people to be both UI and UX. So UI also requires a design system. For you guys, where's the boundary there? Ronnie, I saw you smile. I think you have some ideas here.
Honestly, I never really got into the design system, since we have already a design system, so that would not be part of the job description. And the probability many other jobs will already have a design system, so it might not be a major part of the job description. And as you said, it has a lot to do also with UI and a bit of the branding as well. So maybe it's not so essential.
Right.
But it's nice that that person put that thought into a systematic design.
Right. And Malik, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
I care about this a lot. I want to see it in every portfolio. Because this is like, so I work in an agency, so you know, we work with different clients. So it's not like a single project we work on for multiple years. So having, you know, this having this design and getting used to creating design systems for every project they do, that would be a very necessary thing for my company, at least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Amr, do you guys already have a design system that UX UI designers would have to work within, or do they have to be a bit more creative?
Yeah, we're just I just learned from Rani and Malik. No, we're building our own on the go, but no, we're not very solid here. But yeah, very nice, two different perspectives. I don't have anything to add. we always iterate on our design guidelines as we're just figuring it out. It's once set as a branding, but it's now that we're running experiments, and we are continuously iterating on it. So I don't have much to add that, but yeah, great, two different perspectives. I just learned just like you. Yeah.
Nice. All right. I know we have a lot of questions that remain unanswered here. I'm so glad that yeah, you guys were able to join. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to answer those questions in this session. Here at Recoded, we're trying to do as many events as possible. So we do hope that something else in the UX UI space comes up, and it would just be answering all these questions. But for today, I think we're done. We have to also respect everyone's time here. But we just want to say a big thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate everyone who's managed to make it here today. Yeah, what else to say? Yeah, I think if you guys follow us on our social media, we have a lot of events coming up. We'll be releasing those soon over the next couple of weeks. So we'd love for you to join us there. And just a really, really big thank you to Amr, Rania, and Malik. I've had honestly a really great time chatting and learning from them a lot about UX UI. And yeah, if you guys check out the Get Hired campaign page, so recoded.com/get-hired-ux-ui. You guys can check out all of their interviews there, where they do share some of their best tips around interviewing and also portfolios and CVs. So that is all there. And there are also a few resources there just for you. Yeah, and that's it.